Alright, so we are ready to keep working on our celebration poster, and this time we completed the background already, so we are starting with the details. Remember that we want to make our objects look three-dimensional and create the illusion of depth using value and contrast. To achieve that, we are using complementary colors. Remember, complementary colors are colors that when you mix them together, they cancel each other out, creating a grayscale that can go from white to black. If you pay attention to some of the details I already added, that I used the yellow to create the little cones, which are supposed to be party hats. And to make those shadows, I actually added a little bit of violet because that is a complementary color of yellow. And when I mixed them together, they gave me this really nice rich tone that I was able to use for my shadows. Feel free to use any color combination that you like. Just keep in mind that we want you to use complementary colors to create those values. And here I continue to work on my details, adding more color, trying to make it cheerful, so I'm adding lots of bright colors to my design. Remember, you can use any colors that you like as long as you remember to use your complementary colors to create the contrast. If you pay attention to the objects I'm creating on my design, there's a little palette, it's a little serving knife, and I actually made it into a silver or a gray color to achieve those tones. All I did was mix blue and orange and mix them together, and it gave me a really nice dark gray. And then to change the value, all I had to do was add some white to get it to the tone that I needed it to be. So as I keep adding more detail to my design, you can see how it's coming to life. You can see that I'm creating the illusion of depth, and it's also beginning to look three-dimensional. You can see that my lines are nice and clean. You can see the edges of the boxes on the presents. You can see the roundness on the balloons. You can see the spheres. And I'm also adding a little highlight on the balloons just to make them look more shiny. Another thing that I want you to keep in mind is the size of your brush. Make sure that whenever you're painting bigger areas, then you use a bigger brush. If you're going to be painting smaller details, then that's when you want to go for your smaller brushes. And it can be a round or a flat brush. Just keep in mind that the right size of brush will make a big difference depending on what you're trying to paint. Here you can see me working on the cake already, and if you notice or if you remember earlier, I had actually, when I was painting my background, I painted into my cake with the blue. So what I did is I went over with a layer of white. That way when I was ready to use my final color, the blue wouldn't show through. So my poster is pretty much complete. I finished the background and all the details are done. So it's time for me to go back and finish those letters. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trace them again with pencil. That way I know where my lines are supposed to go. Since I chose a light color, I could still see part of the pencil marks from when I originally drew the letters. So by going over them with a pencil again, it'll make them more visible and it'll be easier for you to paint them. I'm going with complementary colors, purple and yellow, to make sure that my letters really stand out. And since I'm using yellow for the main part of the letters, I might have to add a little bit of white to make the color more opaque, since this yellow is a little translucent. And you are also going to probably have to add more than one layer of paint just to make sure that you get the richness that you want. And here you have it, guys. My design is done. Hope you like it. Thank you.